Motherhood, the joy of becoming a mother to a baby. Who doesn't like it? But wishing to become a mother to a baby who didn't grow under her heart, but in it? Such a mother is rare indeed, trust me. There are such noble women on this earth. Incredible, isn't it? One such young, noble-minded lady who wishes to be a single mother of an adopted child is Ashley McKitterick. Listen to her story and get inspired. It's funny, I see you becoming a mother to a baby, but not a newborn, and he will have big, round blue eyes. Back in her early 20s, Ashley McKitterick went to see a psychic. She's skeptical by nature, but this woman absolutely blew her away. How could she possibly know that Ashley had dreamt of adopting as long as she had known she wanted to be a mother? Believing in psychics is a discussion for another day, but she nearly fell right out of her seat a few years later in 2015 when she saw the very first picture of Axel, a share brown face of a gorgeous 6-month-old with the biggest blue eyes that stared right into her soul from the computer screen in that social worker's office. Ashley thinks she's always known her path to motherhood because she can't remember otherwise. Adoption was her first choice. She did not know how or when she would, but she always knew she would. As she became a young adult, she started to set a concrete plan in place. Graduate university, travel a bit, settle into a career, buy a home, start the adoption process, and with some luck, she would be a mom before she turned 30. Ashley's family was mostly supportive, although they had some reservations at first. A lot of people in Ashley's life did. Even some of the people in the adoption community questioned her intentions when she first started her path towards motherhood. Ashley was single, she was 27, and adoption was her first choice. She was told that usually it's single women in their late 40s who embark on this journey. It saddened her then, and it saddens her now, that adoption is an afterthought for a lot of people. Ashley has been working hard and trying her best on changing that perception to anyone who will listen to her. Ashley was naive and excited when she started the adoption process. She made a lot of calls and decided the right route for her was to adopt via foster care. She went to an information session with her mom, and she walked out of the office virtually shaking. You know when you just feel it in your bones? That was Ashley. She could not start the process fast enough. And if you know anything about adoption, there is absolutely nothing fast about it. There was heaps of paperwork, home study, 12 hours of psychological assessment, 32 hours of in-class sessions, homework, etc. And Ashley loved every second of it. She took every course offered by the Children's Aid Society, whether mandatory or not. She even took some courses twice. She felt so prepared, willing, and hopeful. She felt like she was prepared to tackle it all. But truly, nothing could have prepared her for what was about to come. Like she said, she was naive. Ashley received the call about Axel in late October 2015. The adoption worker told her that her name came up as a perfect match for him. He was 5 months old, and his case looked like it would go towards adoption. And while Ashley was floating on cloud 9, she reminded her that there are always risks involved with adopting from foster care. She acknowledged the risk and was so incredibly eager to learn more about him. She was told a bit about his background, why he was apprehended, where he was living now, and why the panel thought they would be a perfect fit. Axel had not attached to his bio mom or to any adult in his life, including his wonderful emergency foster mom. He had a blank look on his face. He slept in very short intervals with his eyes open and was having a tough go of it. It was recommended by a specialist at the Children's Hospital that he be moved into a stimulating environment to make up for what he lacked in his short life. Ashley had taken quite a few courses offered by the Children's Aid Society on attachment. And because she was going to be afforded full parental leave immediately upon placement, they were cautiously optimistic that they would bond and he would attach to her. A couple of weeks later, she didn't sleep for 2 weeks solid, she swears. There in that social worker's office, hearing more about Axel, his bio family, when she saw the big blue-eyed picture, He was and is gorgeous. Ashley's heart was pounding before she saw the picture, but staring right into those eyes for the first time is a feeling she will never ever forget. Ashley's mom had accompanied her to the meeting, although she made her wait in the waiting room. She was so overcome with emotion that the social worker asked if she'd like to get her mom to join the rest of the meeting. She ran out into the hall and motioned for her to come in. She doesn't remember what was said in the poorly lit room. Her eyes did not stray from that perfect photo of her son. Well, that is until she was snapped out of it with, "Are you busy right now? Or would you like to go meet Axel?" She has never been so nervous in her life. She wanted to cry, throw up, jump up and down. She walked up the stairs and there he was, sitting in a saucer, drooling. He was wearing a shirt that was too small for him, his delicious round belly peeking out. The adoption worker and the foster mother began talking, and she just sat on the floor next to Axel, studying everything about him. His nose was so tiny, he was drooling everywhere. There were about 3.5 strands of hair on his head and his delicious belly. His foster mother encouraged Ashley to pick him up. Her arms felt like jello, but somehow she managed not to screw it up. He did not react either way to her presence, which in hindsight should have been worrisome. But whatever magical baby spell he put on Ashley was working. Ashley was forever his. Over the course of the next month, Axel and Ashley slowly integrated. She spent a lot of time in his foster home, familiarizing herself with him. She got to know his foster mother, who has been a foster mother since 1982 and has had countless children in her home. She was wonderful and informative. She is so thankful that her son had her experience and welcoming arms to hold him for those few months before Ashley came along. December 10th, 2015, Axel officially moves in. The first few months with Axel were not easy. Little dude did not sleep. He was playful, but not necessarily with Ashley. Eye contact was minimal. If she approached him too quickly or if she cuddled him, he stiffened. They had a long road ahead of them, but she thinks they were both determined to make it work. She signed them up for swimming lessons. He didn't react to the water, but he had to hold on to Ashley while they were in it. They did some baby gymnastics where again, he relied on being in her arms and needing her to get him from point A to point B. Slowly, the work they were putting in was showing some results. After about 6 or so months, he would start to look for Ashley in a crowded room. He tried to do silly things to make her laugh, and better than that, she could make him laugh. The adoption worker came over once, and he was seated in his high chair. She was fixing him a snack, and the adoption worker approached him. His instinct was to reach for her. She started smiling and said she wasn't sure they would make it to this point. She believed in them, but she wasn't sure. Ashley's son was approached by a stranger, and he sought her approval, her protection. He was getting attached to her. After about 7 months of putting their work in and bonding in their blissful bubble, there was actually a storm brewing outside of it. Unfortunately, there were some major mistakes done in Axel's file, both before he was placed with Ashley and afterwards. Ashley's first preoccupation was Axel's well-being. He started splitting time between her house and another home. He regressed. His temperament changed. His sleep pattern got skewed. Then Axel got sick. He had to see 5 different specialists, had well over 30 medical appointments, a few trips to the ER, and a couple of surgeries. To say that she was kind of smacked in the face with parenthood is putting it lightly. To say her son is resilient is a huge understatement. There were so many court dates, Ashley stopped counting. There were appeals at various levels. She missed a lot of work, missed even more sleep, and her whole world was about making sure that no matter the outcome, she was giving Axel all of her love and attention for as long as he was in their home. After 2 years of indecision, there was a final 9-day trial. Ultimately, no one could guarantee that removing Axel from his first attachment would not result in any lifelong negative effects. Ashley felt that the older Axel gets, she knows it even more. They're so lucky that Axel's adoption is an open adoption. He will always know where he came from. He spends quality time with an aunt, including sleepovers and trips to the family cottage. While Ashley was hopeful that their relationship would develop this way, she never thought in her wildest dreams that it would be to this extent. Axel has brought so much love to their family. Ashley's parents, who he affectionately refers to as Nana and Grampy, became grandparents the moment Ashley matched with Axel. They have been relentless in their love and support. She doesn't know where either of them would be without them. She doesn't think she could have come out whole after those years of uncertainty and protecting Axel as much as possible inside of their blissful bubble, if it weren't for the family and a few important friends in her life. Happily, they had their adoption day on October 10th, 2019. Ashley's mom, being a family law lawyer, was able to represent them and finalize the adoption. It felt surreal. She'd always imagined what that day would feel like. And as she sat there with her son and his collection of dinosaurs in front of the judge, she realized it was nothing like how she'd imagined. She was happy, of course, but it felt like a formality. Axel and Ashley were family already. Is adoption fast? No. Easy? Heck no. But Axel's her family, and she would do it all over again 10 times if it meant keeping him safe. He's a happy, athletic boy who thrills her every day with how smart and loving he is. Their story started long ago, and their adventures as mother and son are numerous and plenty. Ashley is so excited for her little family and for what is to come for Axel. She knows he is destined for great things. She doesn't even need a psychic to confirm it. Guys, perhaps you may join me when I say Axel is Ashley's answered prayer, her fulfilled wish, and her realized dream. He is her chosen child. By choice, they've become a family. First started living in the heart and finally in breath and being. Ashley McKitterick, this is my wish for you. Comfort on difficult days and rainbows on cloudy days. Blessings to you and your son.